Welcome back into another episode of the Champions Standard Podcast. I'm your host, Jay Bowles, and if you're new here, this podcast is all about diving into stories of college athletes, how their sport has really changed them, the competitions they faced, and the lessons they carry with them beyond competition. In today's episode, I will be joined by Dell Johnson, otherwise known as DJ. He's a sprinter from Concordia University in Minnesota, also the same school where Tarnio David attends. If you listen to our last episode, Dell has had a very impressive journey in track. But what makes his story even more compelling is how he's battled through injuries and how he's kept, pushing forward. And so we're going to talk about his early days in the sport, the mental and physical grind of overcoming setbacks, and kind of what keeps him motivated to keep going and continue on his journey. And just a quick reminder, I just wanted to reiterate that this isn't just a track-related podcast. The Champions Standard Podcast is about the whole college athlete experience as a collective. And in future episodes, we'll be featuring guests from a variety of sports and backgrounds, football, basketball, baseball, just to name a few. And they'll all be sharing their unique journeys beyond the game of college athletics. And so this episode today is going to be packed with great insight. And so whether you're an athlete, a fan, or someone just looking for inspiration to how to deal with adversity, it's going to be a great episode, and it's going to be worth listening. So let's get into it. Here's my conversation with DJ Johnson. Hope you enjoy. Welcome into the podcast. This is the second episode of the Champion Standard Podcast, and our guest here today is DJ Johnson. Welcome in.
I'm glad to be welcome, bro.
Appreciate you. What's been going on with you lately? How's the season been going? Catch us up a little bit.
Man, what has been happening, dude? Like 2 records already at the school. It's been quite the journey. I don't even know how to describe it. I guess I could just say, as in regards to fall training at first, when we were training outside, I would say the training wasn't as heavy, but it was definitely really good to set us up for indoor season. I feel like it was nowhere near the level that, coming from Trek, Minnesota, because you already know how brutal Coach Mel's training is and just how impactful that shit is. I think what also helped me was coming off from that AAU season and into the college season and just kind of understanding how everything is. I remember even when Jeremiah told me workouts weren't going to be they were going to be a lot different, and he was right. Workouts in college are more event based. You know what I mean? It's kind of like what you're training, you're training for that specific event. So that's kind of interesting. But man, the fall training was tough though, but I got through it, and now we're just into the indoor season. And one thing about me is I've struggled running indoors. Indoors has never been my strongest suit in track and field, and I've already got the 200 record indoors, and I got the 300 record as well. So it was just very shocking to me. I've never expected myself to be this successful indoors, and I'm just very grateful for the process and the journey that has taken me here. I mean, I even can remember ourselves when we both got injured. We were both hurt, at the same time during the summer workouts, and just kind of doing, them grass workouts, just running in the grass. How ass them workouts were. I feel like that was all to set me up for where I am now. So.
Yeah, that's great. Just want to say congratulations for all the records. I've been keeping track of that, so congratulations on that, for sure. So let's just take it back. What got you into track in the first place, and kind of tell us a little bit about the history of your track career.
What got me into track?
Yeah, just, how it all started pretty much.
Oh, yeah, easy. I mean, so I played quite a few sports growing up. I was playing football and basketball, but I was never really that good at football, to be fair. And basketball, I just never really enjoyed it. I know it was something my dad forced me to play because he played, and I just never enjoyed it. It just wasn't really my thing. didn't like it. I just was never a fan. And then, my mom, being the athlete in the family, she kind of took me under her wing and just kind of showed me what track is and what it's all about. I mean, she was the athlete in the family. She ran at Purdue University, so she pretty much got me in when I was 9 years old on track Minnesota Elite, and it was just kind of just from there. It's like, dang, all I got to do is run in a circle, like, you know what I'm saying? Like, that's it. So, it was cool in that aspect, and it just kind of clicked with me, and I just fell in love with the sport. Through all the ups and the highs and lows, it's just kind of what happened. And I've just been running, basically up until now,
That's great. That's cool because you see, I mean, a lot of track athletes play football, basketball, whatever it is. So going strictly into track, it's definitely cool because not a lot of people like to do that. So was there like a moment in your life? I know you talked about starting when you were 9, but is there a specific moment where you were like, yeah, I can do this and I can like make this like a really big part of my life?
Oh, yeah, because, it felt like, because my cousins, they had basketball, my brother was more into like robotics and that type of thing. And, I felt like track really did help shape me into who I was now, because it's like, okay, yeah, this is a part of me. Like, this is what I do. You know what I'm saying? This is what makes who I am. And it was just kind of cool to finally have something that I could one day be great for. I never really knew where I was going to go for the whole college scene as I was, getting older and older, but I just knew that this is what I wanted to do ever since my mom, brought me to the track that one day, and I just started running.
That's cool. That's cool. So I know you brought up injuries, that specific year you were injured. Just give a little history. Were there any other injuries, and like when did injuries first kind of start playing a role in your track journey?
It's crazy to think about it, man. But as you know, everyone gets 4 years to run high school track. Mind you, I only went to state 1 out of those 4 years. My freshman year, obviously, it was a COVID year, so a lot of people didn't get an opportunity to do what they wanted to do. So my sophomore year, I came out doing well. Made it to state on the 4x4. Took like 12th overall at nationals at Junior Olympics. I know I didn't get on that podium, but I still was in that mix of people, and I was just, my only hopes were to just go into that junior year with just big aspirations. Like, my goal was to win state, and be in the mix of all those guys. And it just kind of went downhill from there. I think I had a pretty successful indoor season, but I struggled indoors. And I ran like probably 3 meets outdoors. And I remember just feeling like it was a stress fracture in my fibula, in my ankle. And I just remember like I was good up until that, and I honestly can't remember what like led up to the pain that I was feeling in that area. Like, I couldn't really describe it, but I think it was just like slowly over time, and I just couldn't really predict like what it was until like after that meet the next day. I remember I just couldn't walk. I felt a lot of pain there. It was very weak, and I'm like, shit, I think I just broke my ankle. So I think I told my mom about it, and yeah, I remember next like day, I think I got pulled out of school, went to the doctor, and yeah, got the MRIs and the X-rays, and they said I had a grade 4 stress fracture in my ankle, and bam, just like that, season was over. Season was over just like that. It was heartbreaking. It was sad. I had, you know what I mean? I thought that I thought my track career was over. I was just like, I don't even know what to do now. I was depressed, I think, that whole year, and just didn't even want to really do anything. My mom could clearly see it, because I think my mom felt it more than I did, because I tried to keep a level head about it, but I could tell it was tearing her up more than it was for me. And my mom got sick that year, so there was a lot of other stuff that went on. It was just a very tough year. Went through the whole rehab process. I went to TCO when my ankle started to get better, and I could kind of get out of the boot and shit like that. But TCO was just not a good training regiment because like their training is basically like specifically for like old people. You know what I mean? People who are like maybe like in their 70s, 80s who can barely walk. And they got me doing these little drills that really aren't that helpful. Mind you, this is when I was like, when my ankle was getting better and they still had me doing this dumb shit. So I decided finally when my ankle healed up and I could stop doing the band exercises and all that type of stuff, I could finally go see some real training, and that was Isaac Anderson. So Coach Isaac got me in at MIT just doing all types of shit, just hip exercises because they always talked about my hips being weak and compensation issues. And I went to see Isaac for a while, trained with him all summer, did them grass workouts, them bullshit exercises they had me doing, you know, with you on the grass. So, and then and then it was kind of rested all summer, worked, and just kind of did my own thing. And then came the senior year where, you know, I was on the come up and trying to get my get back because I was coming for everything. It didn't really go my way. You know, I ran decent times. They were all right, but not like what I had trained for all junior year. And I felt like I never really got back to where I needed to be because I kind of missed that whole indoor season. I never really trained indoors my senior year because I was dealing with like hip issues, and it felt like my body was just out of whack because I missed like damn near an entire year to train. Like it felt like my body didn't even know how to run or even work itself. I also genuinely believe too a lot of it was up here and in my head. I was just in my head and didn't know how to bounce back. But yeah, I missed that whole indoor season and didn't really get in good shape. And you already know the high school training is ass, so I kind of waited to the high school season, and it still wasn't good. And you know, they had me doing these 200s. Mind you, I'm a 400 guy when I should be getting more upstairs work and more consistent speed endurance, but they got me just doing 200s. Fuck is this? So it was just bad. And I ran all right, but it just wasn't what I wanted to do. And I think, you know, it is kind of sad how I ended my high school season, but I think it was at True Team State. I was in the 200 meters, and I was coming out the curve, and I felt a straight like hinge or like strain in my calf. Thankfully it was just the calf, but I pulled up and I was just like, so I jogged in the 200, you know, and just, it was a cold day. It was raining. The conditions were bad, and it just was not a good day. And, you know, I think that was the last high school meet I ran, and ended up losing my spot on the 4x4, which, you know, dang well I should have been on that 4x4. And yeah, it was just a tough time. I think my coach gave me a time trial to like try and give me a redemption to get there, and I didn't run anything decent. Mind you, hadn't even ran in 2 weeks as I was trying to nurse the calf and get it back to where I needed to be. And yeah, it just didn't. I ran like a 51, some trash, and just yeah. And I think that next day, I think I had turned in my jersey because this is like on the way to state. I think this was around the time where everyone was going. They were taking the 3 kids to go to state because you know how it is. Really? So they were taking them to go to state, and I wasn't on the bus. So I think I had showed up, drove up there, and I just gave my jersey and left. I was done. I couldn't handle the fact of being an alternate on a relay because I knew I was better than that. So yeah, man, that was the story right there. I think I kind of broke it up into sections, but that was it. You know?
No, that's great. Went a lot of different directions there.
I rambled on quite a bit.
You good, but just talk a little bit about like the mental part of that. I know you said that was like a hard time, just for a lot of reasons, but specifically the injury. Talk about how kind of the ups and downs with that, and how you still managed to get through it and still come out with some relative success, even though it's maybe not what you wanted in the end, but at least you were able to push through it and still do what you want to do in the future.
Yeah, it's a good question, man. I would say the mental aspect was arguably the toughest part because, you know, there's always that thought of, are you ever going to get back to where you want to be? Are you still capable of doing this? You know, I thought about quitting a couple times, you know, shed a lot of tears and just, but through all that turmoil, I had a lot of speeches, obviously, from a lot of people. It did feel like I had some coaches give up on me though. I'm not going to say their names, but we ended up working out our relationship through the end. But that was that aspect, but throughout all the hardship and anger and frustration, I still managed to just I was just telling myself, just don't give up, keep going, don't quit, just trying, and keep working, and you will still find, like you said, that relative success. And I did my senior year, because when I turned in my uniform, I said, fuck it, I'm gonna just, Coach Mel texted me like, hey man, we'll get you right, because in the summer season, you only get about 2 to 3 weeks, and then you get regionals and it's nationals, and I got put through some hell workouts through that short little period of time before regionals, and I think that was the best success I had that whole year. I placed third at regionals in the going to nationals for the 200, and I think I got second in my heat at the 4. I ran like 50.08 or something like that. Went to nationals, ran 49.8, didn't really do nothing crazy, and then ran like 22 something. But looking back at it all, I proved to myself that I could still run. With the right training and with the right people, I was able to get back to where I needed to be. And I think that was a good stepping stone for this school, because I think I went on a visit to Concordia probably, I don't know if it was a few weeks before. I know I kind of applied here pretty late, so that was my fault. But those times that I had ran were a great stepping stone as to what the success I've had right now. So I'm very grateful for that. And I think through all that, it was just not giving up and just showing myself I can still do it. You got to push through it no matter what's going on. Can't quit.
So it's a great mentality, especially for, individual sport. It's not, you don't have a team. There's other people you're training with, but they're all trying to accomplish what they're trying to accomplish. So
yeah,
for sure. You mentioned a few people. Just talk about, the importance of a few people in your life that have really impacted you, specifically in the injury process, but also after that, and just talk about like how you've been able to lean on them and kind of grow with them on your journey.
Man, there's a lot of people. I mean, first and foremost, I guess we could say my mom, because she knew what I was going through, and she had a similar story to herself, and she knew what I was going through. She had gotten sick that year. She had a stroke. It was very serious, and she's still fighting and getting back to this day, but she's a lot better. But she was there with me every step of the way. Every TCO visit, I was in the pool. She was there every day. She never gave up on me, because she saw that I wasn't going to quit either. And I think that really helped within itself, because my mom, she showed up every time when it mattered, never gave up. And people like to say, Coach Mom, that's what she was. So she was a big piece in that. I know Coach Mel got me through AAU, got me right in that sense. And, obviously there's a few others. I talked to a lot of people, but, yeah, I would say like, Coach Antoine, they were all like the main aspects as to me getting back to where I needed to be. So yeah.
It's dope. It's great because, people,
and my dad too,
Yeah, for sure. I think especially in individual sport, the people you surround yourself really mean a lot, because it can either, build you up or kind of like break you down in a way. So I think, I think that's really, really big that you have those people. I think it's important for everyone to have some kind of people that they can lean on. So thank you for that knowledge and information. Transitioning into a little more of the current track, what would you say is like the biggest adjustment that you've noticed from high school or AAU to college track specifically?
I would just say that the training is different for one. Like I said, the training is more like event based. The schedule, the schedules are different. Not everyone is practicing at the same time. Everyone has different practice schedules. On that aspect, and college is just a much more different environment than high school and AAU, and it almost feels like, for an example, I remember when I was one meet at Cato, I had the 400 Then I made the 60 finals, and then after the 60 finals, I literally had to go check in for the 4, and I was the first heat up. Like, it didn't even give me like, you know how there's like, all right, well, we got 15 minutes, then we're calling out first heat to the 400 for the men's 400, the girls 400. Like, there's none of that in college. There's none of that. You need to know when your heat is. You need to be looking at the heat sheets. You need to know all those things that no one's going to tell you. You have to figure all that out by yourself. And that was thank God I haven't missed an event, but, I could have. After the 60 finals, I literally had like maybe 2 minutes. I had to rush over to the check-in tent, take my pants off or my sweats off, and hop in them blocks because they were all getting in there. And that's kind of how that went down. But that's kind of just one serious thing about college. Like, it's not going to be like that. It's not like that in high school. You know what I mean?
Yeah, for sure. Talk about some of the specific event training, if you don't mind. Can you share with us the hardest workout you've done in college so far?
The hardest workout? That's a great question. I'm trying to think. Obviously there have been harder workouts than others. Most workouts are decently challenging. I'm just trying to think. I would say it was them like 4 times like 300s. That was a pretty hard workout. I will also say like those speed endurance days too are hard because it's like the whole point of them is like, okay, you could have 300, like 2 300s, then then you like run a 60 meters afterwards, then you run another 60, then you get a break, then you run a 200, then you run another 60. Like the whole point of the workout, I guess, is like how fast can you run while you're tired and fatigued, and just to kind of keep building that speed endurance. Like those workouts are hard. The lactic acid definitely like eats away at you. Like they're very challenging workouts to get through.
For sure. This is just a question because I'm a little curious. I'm in Louisiana, so I'm always training outdoors.
Yeah.
I know you're in Minnesota, so a lot of indoor training right now. So I was just kind of curious what that difference is doing those workouts indoors versus outdoors, and if you find them more difficult or what you kind of think about them.
Oh man, like these workouts. I hate indoors, man. Like as much as I've gotten better at indoors, it's not fun. Like indoors, the curves are tighter. It's hard to open up because once you open up on the straightaways, the curve is coming up. Then you got to kind of like close back. Everyone's kind of like boxed in together, and you can hit somebody. You know what I mean? It's not indoor track is not really as fun, what most people would say. But outdoors is better because it's more spread out. During the fall training, it was nice I actually missed training on the outdoor track. I actually enjoyed it. I would say probably the hardest workouts we had were those ladders, but it was nice to, I guess, do that full workout on a actual outdoor track. Indoor tracks is just like there's people on the track. You can hit somebody. You know what I mean? You just got to be a little more careful. It's dry in there. You know what I mean? I think you could ask any track athlete. No one likes indoors. Everyone prefers outdoor track. You know what I mean? But yeah, I just like, for me, I've just gotten better at running on an indoor track because I've just always struggled. I'm a little bit of a taller person, so it's not as easy,
For sure. Okay, I know you've broken some records, but has there been like a specific moment where you were like, okay, this is where I belong, this is my place to be, and yeah.
Yeah, I will say the 300 record, when I just looked at the time, I knew I could get that because I ran 34.7 in a time trial. Like literally, I was like, okay, the 300 record, it was like 35 something. I knew I could get that. And then I broke the 200 record, and I'm just like, I didn't even know I did it. You know what I mean? I wasn't even looking at all the records like that. I literally just get in the blocks and run. You know what I mean? This is just another day at the office, just getting the blocks and run. It was a PR. Oh, I broke the record too. Like, that's nice. You know what I mean? Can't be mad at that. But it was making me think like, okay, if I got the 2 and 3, might as well just try and go for the 4, right? So, you can always have that mentality in there. And yeah, like I was thinking to myself, well, yeah, this is where I belong. This is the hard work that I've put in that is shown as to why I'm getting these results that I am now. The goal is to just stay grounded and stay positive and just keep working through that. Um, I would just say to not letting that get to your head is also a big thing as well.
For sure. Is there one thing that you do behind the scenes that kind of prepares you that maybe you just started doing in college that maybe you learned or maybe you saw, but just like share with us any kind of behind the scenes insights into how you prepare for your races and yeah.
I would just say stretching for one, very important. A quality warm up is so important. You can't rushing through a warm up is just so bad. You just don't want to do that. It causes injury, it causes strain. It's just not worth. You know what I mean? Making sure you're hearing your body. You know how your body feels, and knowing what you could do and produce. For me, I just remember when I got hurt those times, stretching and stretching is very important. I try to at least stretch twice a day because your bodies are active a lot. You're in the weight room. I remember during fall training, we were in the weight room a lot more than we are now, but still, that's still not an excuse to not try and stretch and roll out and get that in. Um, Seeing the trainers, you know what I mean? See the trainers, they can give good advice as to what you need to do. So maybe you could stop feeling less pain in this area. I know shin splints is a very common injury that a lot of athletes get, but the trainers have been very, very helpful in that aspect. But I will just say, quality warm up, stretching, eating right, getting good quality sleep is like you look at a lot of these great athletes. It's like these guys are in bed at a they're in bed at maybe 9 p.m. early as hell, like because they know what they're trying to do. They need to get that rest so that they can perform and do what they need to do. It's not worth staying up super late and not eating right and not drinking enough water. It's just bad for the body, bad for the brain.
Facts. No, that's great. Transitioning more into the food conversation, but this is the last section of the podcast. It's going to be our rapid fire questions. So number one is favorite meal.
Favorite meal? My favorite meal. Damn, I be eating a lot of food, but I say pasta. I mean, pasta's good. Can't go wrong with that. You know what I'm saying?
Facts. Favorite race day song if you listen to one.
Favorite race day song? Oh man, that's a great question. I don't even know. I won't say it's a song, but I do listen to a lot of Future. So I can't lie. I be listening to a lot of Drake, a lot of Future for my races. So that's kind of what I'm going with.
Okay, that's nice. That's nice. Yeah, for sure. Okay, I know you kind of already answered this question, but indoor, outdoor.
Outdoor. We already know. We already know the answer to that question. So.
Yeah. Socks or no socks?
Oh man, so that's a great question because the thing is, I used to actually run with no socks in my spikes. Like I did that like I've been doing it since I was 9 years old up until like now. But I guess these new spikes that I got, like without wearing socks in them, like the heels, like piece on the back of them is like longer, and it kind of like it could cause blisters. I tried running without socks, so I just kind of I've been wearing like low socks, so like it doesn't like blister my feet. But I low key would prefer like no socks. You know what I mean?
I got you. Yeah, I got you. Fastest person you've ever raced against or trained against?
Fastest person I've ever raced against. Man, I don't even want to say his name. I ain't gonna lie. I'm not gonna be like that. There's a couple, dude. Gerard Hughes. Been running against the kid since I was 9 years old. Great athlete, great talent, you know what I mean? Just can never beat the guy, you know what I'm saying? He was always unpredictable. He's very successful and just have done, I'm seeing 10-3 and 100, like,
Yeah.
you know what I'm saying? dude's great. And I would say the second one probably got to be Dwayne Smith. Just he's the way how he attacks that forward and the way how he runs is just very, very. I aspire to basically train into that threshold, and just seeing how he's able to do that. I've ran against him and how he's able to get out and push through that barrier and that pain. He knows what it's like to get through there, and I think that's one reason why we can relate to each other so much, is just because of we both do the 4 and we both know what that hard, grueling training it does to get there. So, he's cool. It's nice to also learn from him as well, and wouldn't be bad training with him one day either. So I definitely would look forward to that.
Yeah, I've raced against both of them. I know what you're talking about. So
you know what I'm saying? Yep. You know what I'm saying? So
yeah, for sure. Okay. What's next for you? Just on the track? Any upcoming meets? Just share with us a little bit about that.
So we got conference next week at Cato, this week in Cato. I got like 3 events. I'm doing the 2, the 4, the 4x4. So I got a busy weekend. Gonna need the mind right, the body right, all those kind of things. So that's gonna be interesting.
Okay, good luck. If you had to give one piece of advice to young athletes dealing with setbacks, or really just kind of trying to get to where you're at, or just improve in whatever their sport is, what would it be?
I would just say, dealing with like setbacks, just keep going. Don't quit. Keep going. Your time is coming. Be patient. Patience is probably the number one thing. I had to be patient for 2 years. You know what I'm saying? 2 years. I'm getting the results I need. Like it's different for everybody. Everybody's journey is different. You can't compare yourself to anyone throughout this track process because, man, track is arguably maybe the most unforgiving sport. But, you just got to be patient and just keep working and keep grinding. Your time is coming. And make sure you have that faith in God as well.
Facts. I appreciate that. Last thing, where can people follow you and keep up with everything you're doing?
You can follow me on Instagram at DaleJohnson20. That's where I'm usually at. Pretty active on there mostly. Trying to stay away from a lot of other social media, but Instagram is probably where I'm at. Yeah, at DaleJohnson20. Follow me.
All right, sounds good. Appreciate you for coming on the podcast, and thank you for tuning in to the Champion Standard podcast, and we'll catch you next week.
I appreciate that, Jay. It was an honor to be on here, bro. I appreciate it. Nice talking to you.
Yes, sir. Thanks for tuning in.